Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee. I talk about books on this channel, mainly books about magic, and if you want to see more of that, you can hit subscribe down below. Welcome back, and today we are going to be doing my first book haul of 2025. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first book haul of this year. I have quite a few things to show you. Some of this is leftover from the end of last year. Some of this you may have seen me unbox in vlogs if you have been paying attention, but I just wanted to kind of clear things off and put them. I have bought a good mixture, I think, of things that I have read already and books that I will be adding to my physical TBR. Some of them are technically already there because they're in my spreadsheet, but I am really excited to show you all of these. So my very last read of 2024 was A Study in Scarlet by Sherry Thomas, and I was so excited that when I read this, it was a 5-star. I adored it. I had a great time. I just was totally captured by this book and the take on Sherlock and Holmes, and I had a great time. And this is the kickoff to a pretty long ongoing series. I believe there are at least 6 books because I found the first 6 books in the series on a single Pango store. So if you're not familiar with Pango, sometimes the seller is only selling one book or a couple of the books in the series, but I found one seller selling all of these in perfect condition. So I was thrilled about that. And I don't know if these are in the correct order, but the ones I got from the seller were A Study in Scarlet, A Conspiracy in Belgravia, Miss Moriarty, I Presume, Murder on Cold Street, The Art of Theft, and The Hollow of Fear. So I am really excited to continue on reading this series and reading the next book. Honestly, I have no idea what order these go in. That's sort of a lie. I know this is the second book, but I have no clue after that. But I am so glad that I have finally picked up this series. I think these will be great palette cleansers, and I plan on reading a bunch of these this year because I'm pretty far behind and I would like to catch up. I haven't done a book haul in a while, and I think I forgot to tell you what this series is about. In this, we're following Charlotte Holmes, who is pretending to be Sherlock Holmes. She cannot take up this mantle because she is a woman, and in Victorian society, you cannot have a job as a woman. It's inappropriate according to their customs. So she is putting up a pretense that she is her brother's secretary, and her brother is Sherlock Holmes. Meanwhile, Charlotte is the one solving the crimes and, figuring things out. This first book was so much fun, like I said, and I cannot wait to continue this series. Obviously, I'm excited because I keep saying it, but I've had this series on my TBR, like my nebulous, ever-growing Goodreads and Storygraph TBR, but I finally picked it up and I'm so happy I did. My next set of books is from a similar situation. I found a seller who was unloading some Ilana Andrews books, and their loss was my gain because I was looking to add some of these to my collection. So I added books 2 through 4 of the Edge series from Ilana Andrews to my collection. We have Bayou Moon, which is the second book. We have Fate's Edge, which is the third book, and we have Steel's Edge, which is the 4th and final book. This is a paranormal romance series in which we're following a world on the edge, which is between our world and a fantasy world. There's a portal transition world in between where there is some magic but not a lot of magic, and there's people that live in this in between, and we're following sort of one family and a bunch of things going on with that family. We're following extended family members and what's going on, and it is very Ilana Andrews in that it has to do with a crossover of magic and science and high fantasy, and it's a really fun series and I really enjoyed it. It's not my favorite by them, and therefore I was looking for it secondhand, but I did have a good time with these books and I wanted to complete my Andrews collection. And now I am realizing that after putting all of my books in alphabetical order this Vlogmas, I am going to have to try to fit these in up at the A's. That's going to be an adventure. This same seller was getting rid of the Kinsman universe by Ilana Andrews, which is a collection of short stories by them, as well as Fated Blades, which is so there's, I think, 3 short stories in here. 2 of them are related, and then this is the 3rd short story in that universe. And then there's another little short story in here as well. That's my understanding. And these are more sci-fi leaning short stories than fantasy, but I believe there's some elements of both. The Edge books and these short stories really feel like building blocks to the Baylor series, which I'm not going to remember the name of, by Ilana Andrews, but like all Ilana Andrews series have little bits and pieces of their other series in them. They just have a very specific and interesting way of building characters as well as worlds, and I eat it up. So I really wanted to put these on my shelves as well. And I have just never seen these like for sale on Pango. I think they come up once in a while, but I have never seen them. So they were very, very cheap and I wanted to pick them up. So I'm very, very excited that this is pretty much completing my Ilana Andrews collection. So I think the only thing I still need to get like physical copies of at this point are the Wilmington Years, but I'm waiting to get those until I get to reading them because I am still working my way through a reread of the original Kate Daniels series, and then the Wilmington Years is a subsequent novella series. So these, I'm just happy. I'm sad they don't like match in size, but I'm thrilled to have them because like I said, I don't see them that often out available for purchase. Then I have 3 more books that are unrelated to anything. These are just new books that I have picked up recently. So the first is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Honestly, I don't really know what this book is about. I was influenced to purchase this at the end of last year by Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading because she was absolutely raving about it, and Brittany and I agree about a lot of things. I'm not sure if we're gonna line up on romantasy, but I am interested to find out, and this is the one that she was, really talking about a lot and thought that I would like. She mentioned that a couple of times when we had talked about When the Moon Hatched. So I'm interested to see what I think, because I have seen very, very mixed reviews on this. So this will be happening at some point this year. Then I have 2 Illumicrate editions. The first is The Whispering Night by Susan Dennard. That is the 3rd and final book in the Luminary series, which I need to get to right now. I loved the first 2 books in this series, and I was meaning to read this late last year, but I did not get around to it. I am expecting to be absolutely devastated by Susan Dennard finishing a book because she devastates me on the regular during books, and this series has just been absolutely stunning from Illumicrate, so I really need to finish this up. And oh wow, okay, I had not opened this book before. Like, I didn't realize that there were end pages, and I don't know if this is like a spoiler for the first 2 books, so I'm not going to show you, but there's very, very pretty end pages. Oh wow. As if this isn't gorgeous enough. You can't really see it because it's so shiny, but this is the 3rd and final book in the Luminary series, which the first book looks like this, and in this we're following Winnie, who is a part of a secret society that hunts down different nightmarish creatures that spawn into our world, and she's part of this secret society that lives near the spawn points. Unfortunately, Winnie's family is outcast because of the actions of her dad, and she is sort of working in this really in-between state where she's not quite in with the people who are hunting down the monsters, and she's also not leaving either. So she's trying to figure out what is going on there when she gets a chance to kind of get back on the ins. And it's a YA series, it's really fun, and like I said, I need to finish up this series and read this last book. And then finally, the last book is the most beautiful one. I saved literally the most beautiful for last, and it is Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. And this is absolutely stunning. This is the Illumicrate edition of this book that came out this month, and I'm blown away by this book. Like, first, the original cover is gorgeous, but it didn't really grab me. What grabbed me about hearing about this book was the description, which is we're following a young woman who inherits a magical pawn shop where you don't pawn your, items, you pawn your decisions and biggest regrets. And it's a magical pawn shop. You can only find it if you need it. And on her first day of inheriting this, she goes and finds the pawn shop has been absolutely ransacked. And I don't don't know where we're going to go from there, but it has been mentioned that this is for fans of Studio Ghibli, which I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan, and I just was so excited to see what Illumicrate came up with for this book to come, and I love this cover. Like, I love this so much. It's absolutely stunning. The naked hardcover is so gorgeous, and the end papers are stunning, and then the inside is also gorgeous. Like, this book, I appreciate when Illumicrate completely redoes a cover. Like, this is the original. If you aren't, like, since this is totally different, if you aren't familiar, that is the original cover. Not that that isn't pretty, it's very pretty, but this is just completely redone while still having so many of the elements of the original. So I'm thrilled with this. I love it when they redo something and don't just change the colors. Like, this is a true special edition cover, and I love it so much. So really excited for this one. I have put a hold on for the audiobook from my library to hopefully get to this ASAP because I'm super intrigued by this one. Hello, it is a different day. Immediately after filming that book haul, I went to 2 different bookstores and I got a Illumicrate package. So I'm going to show you what I got. So the Illumicrate books, I am so over the moon about. I had to shout about them, so I had to finish this book haul with them. It's the Iron Widow and Heavenly Tyrant set. These are the sprayed edges of these books, which are gorgeous, absolutely stunning. I'm not going to show you the interior art or the, well, I'm going to show you some things. Like this gorgeous, like stunning, absolutely beautiful. And then I'm going to only show you the reverse jacket of the first one because I haven't looked at the second one because I'm afraid of spoilers, but like, these are all of our main characters. Amazing. Absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I can't. They're too pretty. They're so pretty. Like, I was waiting for these to come, and they're here, and they're gorgeous. And I need to reread Iron Widow and read Heavenly Tyrant, because they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. The series is about Zetienne, who is a young woman who lives in a world that is very cruel to women, and her sister is taken to be a concubine co-pilot to an ace pilot of these big mech robot fighting machines. And when her sister dies, Zetienne vows revenge and she goes after the ace pilot. Now, what happens is that she becomes the Iron Widow because she kills that co-pilot, the male pilot, and she has to face the consequences of that, but she is still on a revenge path towards everyone who created this system. And if you want to see a woman tear down the world, that is what this book is about, and I believe this book is also about that. I haven't read this one yet, but I am so excited to. And I absolutely love Iron Widow. I still think about it all the time, even though I read it 2 or 3 years ago at this point, and I can't wait to reread it. Then I went to my local indie and Barnes & Noble and picked up a book each. The first one I picked up was The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I wanted to get my own copy of this because I read this twice last year and absolutely loved it. It's a Holmes and Watson style retelling or reimagining in a sci-fi fantasy world. So it's a fantasy mystery in which we're kind of following Din and, oh crap, I always forget her name, Anna, who Anna is the Holmes type character and Din is her Watson, and they live in this world with very dangerous plants and animals where the Empire is more dangerous as you get to the Outer Rim, and there is a murder where plants shoot out of someone's body and they have to try and figure out what has happened and if this is endangering the entire Empire. So loved this book. Cannot wait for the sequel. I have an arc of the sequel and I just can't wait to get to it. I'm so excited because this book just has still stuck with me after reading it twice. And then finally, I went and picked up a copy of Sunbringer from Barnes & Noble. My local indie didn't have one, unfortunately, so I went and grabbed it from Barnes & Noble because I want to start annotating this and rereading it in preparation for Faithbreaker, which I also have an arc of. Like, I have an arc of this book and I need to get to it immediately. So I'm really excited. After rereading Godkiller, the first book in this series, I am so excited to reread this sequel as well. In Godkiller, we're following Kissin, who is a god killer. She kills gods under contract, and she comes across a young noble girl who has a god attached to her, and therefore she cannot destroy this god without destroying the child. So she starts on a path to take this child to the fallen city of gods in Blenraden, and along the way she meets a disgraced knight, and the two of them team up to try and both work towards their goals. And it is a story of lots and lots of different things. There's lots of different threads in the story. It is one of my favorite books of all time, and I can't wait to reread Sunbringer because this will be the first time I reread it, so I can't wait to see what I pick up on it in like the first time. So anyway, I'm gonna stop gushing about Godkiller because I've been doing it a lot lately, but I had to throw this in because I don't anticipate, doing this much book shopping for a little bit. Like, it'll be a little more sparse. So I thought, since I'm so excited for these and I really wanted to show you the Iron Widow set, I just had to throw them in here. So yeah, but luckily most of these books were on my physical, were on books that I already read. Most of these books were books that I already read previously, so I'm just adding them to my collection, not my physical TBR. And that is a dangerous thing to think for me, because that's one of my goals this year, not to add more than 30 books to my physical TBR, but that's no restraint on books I've already read. So we're gonna have to take care. We're gonna have to try and rein that in, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, back to Past Julie to say goodbye. But that is my book haul for the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. If you are super interested in any of these books, or you think there's one that I really have to get to immediately, please let me know down below. If you aren't feeling chatty and you just want to leave me a emoji to let me know you were here, go ahead and leave me any of the moon emojis for the Water Moon book. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!